As in all of the forms that are being provided with the activities, use the sample resume forms as a guide, not to compare yourself to, but to identify the types of things that you have done that should be listed on your resume, as well as the order in which things should be listed. So, for example, when you're reviewing Brenna's resume, this is Brenna's total body of work as a high school senior that in part contributed to her opportunity to be selected as a Questbridge Scholar and to receive a full scholarship to Amherst College, where she is majoring in psychology and art. Here's where she lists her high school. That's how you would list yours. You list the date that you began high school and your graduation date. For the purpose of the activity, it's important that you list your current GPA weighted and your test scores. At some point, we may take your GPA and test scores off of your resume if they're low, or leave them on your resume if they're high. But at this point, when you're creating a draft of your resume, we need to know your GPA and your test scores. If you've had any specialized programs that you've attended, educational programs in the summer, list those. Any job experience, list each of the places where you've worked, the type of community service that you've engaged in, and the activities. Note that in any activity, if you are an officer or a captain, you want to list that at the front of the line and then list the activity. So Brenda was a junior ambassador at the Greensboro Middle College High School. She was a teaching assistant for AP English. She was a Core 4 leader for the Yearbook Club. She was a youth ambassador for the Any Day Youth Leadership Conference, and so forth. And then under honors, she lists that she has been inducted into the National Honor Society. She has a National Merit Scholars Commendation, and some other honors that she's received since she's been in high school. When you scroll down, the next student, Brittany, actually has graduated from Spelman College and is now attending dental school. She was a Gates Millennium Scholar. So Brittany is a good example. She did not have very high test scores, so she didn't list her test scores on her final resume, but she did list her GPA. She lists her work experience, even though it was volunteer work experience. You see all of her community service and the activities that she was involved in, many of which were centered around her church. And then the awards that she received. Also, she received some church awards at her church and then awards for cheerleading at her high school. Bryce has a full financial aid package to Davidson College, where he's majoring in economics. The high school that Bryce attended, he was in the International Baccalaureate program. So he lists his GPA, his class rank, his SAT score. He and his twin brother, actually started their own business. He lists his community service, the activities that he was involved in his school, and his awards. And so when you look at each of these students, there may be a student who was much more closer in their stats, GPA and test scores, class rank, as you are. So just identify the types of activities that you've been involved in school, and then list them on the resume. And then when we review, we will help you to expand or to identify some things that perhaps you have not even thought of. But again, you will see that all the resumes are different. This is Justin. Justin had a 3.2 GPA, did not have very high test scores, but Justin received a $50,000 MC Light Hip Hop Sister Scholarship to Dillard University, where he also received a full academic scholarship once he was admitted to Dillard. Justin's focus was primarily on athletics, where he was either coaching or assisting players, and he played AAU basketball. He was on his high school basketball team, and he did some summer programs. And as you can see, Justin qualified for the honor roll, but that was his only honor. So again, don't compare yourself to other students. Just complete your resume based upon what you have done. Kai is another good example. Kai had a 3.65 GPA. His ACT score at 25 was just high enough to qualify for a presidential scholarship to Tennessee State University and HBCU, where he's majoring in marketing and hotel management. Again, Kai, a lot of his activities were centered around his church. He had some leadership roles in that regard. His awards primarily centered around athletics, and he was on the honor roll at his school. So there are a number of different examples of resumes to assist you in developing your resume.